And now, the glue. When I go to laminate pieces, I try to work the grain when I glue them up to where the grain actually kind of has a symmetrical pattern. Like you see of this one, you can kind of see it in the light, but you see how the grain follows like that? That way when I glue it up, even when I cut it down and I round it off or do anything, it still has that more symmetrical look going to it. So you can see, like, if I did it like that, how they kind of go across back and forth, or it kind of does this wave. But see, since they're both lined up on the other side, when they come back, now they're in the same directions again. So just like that. And now, the glue up. I like to make sure all the clamps are prepped, because there's nothing worse than having glue and shit going everywhere and then having to crank the clamps to get them ready. So that's another pro tip. Have your clamps ready before glue up. That's a lot of clamps. An old piece of cardboard to design the compartments that'll be for rings and spare change and whatnot. I just took an old soda 12-pack box to make my stencil, measure it out, and then stencil it onto the two bases that I have prepped up and ready to go. During the routing process, I decided instead of the two large compartments, I'd do one large compartment and two smaller compartments, which you'll see later. another little tip. Sometimes on a glue up, you have a little imperfection, like see that little line right there? Yeah. There's a pretty easy way to fix this. You apply just a dab of glue right on that joint, that spacing. And just work it back and forth a little. And pretty cool, huh? Alright, so the watch stands have been one of the parts that I thought was going to really be the simplest has turned into be the most labor intensive. It's not really that intense, it's just more of a more labor encompassing than I'd originally anticipated. The big reason for it is, and I kind of expected this but didn't think it would I didn't put a whole lot of concern into it, but there's a router bit that is shaped like a bowl almost, and when you do a recess like for these guys, you can actually take it and it will route the edges and give you a nice bold finish. Bold, ED finish, bold. Yeah, not bold, but like bold. Yeah. Anyways, so I routed out the cavities and then I've been cleaning them up and sanding them, but then I started realizing that they weren't perfectly squared and lined up. So I've been having to go back in and work on it. For the last hour, I've been having to take a Dremel and chisels and everything, trying to get it cleaned up. I've gotten it to a point to where I'm okay with it, but it's not the original thing that I wanted to do, and I really don't want to go back to Lowe's or Home Depot to pick up this bit that I need, so I can make do without it. But next time I have a project like this, you better believe I'm gonna have that shit. So you can see this one's cleaned up and still needs the final staging or sanding stages, but yeah, I got it to where I kind of like, but you can kind of see like right in here. Wait, sorry to get the light. See how it's not perfectly cleaned up. The same on that one. That one's really bad in there. That one's kind of bad, but it's not super noticeable until the light hits it, where I point it out. But when it was, this is the other one which I haven't done yet, you can see like the actual cavities aren't cleaned up. The edges are really rough. You can like see how it's all kind of wavy, and then you see how it has a little jagged right there. All that cleaning up's not an issue, but had I have that bit, I could actually bowl out the entire thing. Let's see, I gotta still clean up all that jazz and that. But I think for what I'm going to be able to get it to do, I should be fine. This all goes back to a lot of sanding, and I absolutely hate sanding. You know, using an orbital sander or a Dremel sander, it's great because it does the actual work for me. It's just the tedium of doing it. But on a lot of this, I have to actually do it by hand to make sure that I'm not removing way too much material. And once I get the lines nice and straight, you know, if I try to take a power tool to them, it could completely distort and warp that straight edge, which it would put me right back to square one. So now I need to get started on the second one of these. Yeah. welcome to a fireside chat with Penguinafterdark. This project was a watch Valet stand, which I've been kind of wanting for a while, and I made it out of walnut and cherry, which my first time working with cherry, and I really enjoyed it. I had noticed a friend who had started collecting watches, figured he needed somewhere that he could display them. I didn't know what setup he had. I decided to make one for myself and make one for him. It was a very fun process, learning how to figure it out and build it. Next time I make one of these, of course, I'll take what I've learned from it and apply it to that, because that's just how you do things. I mean, honestly. Now, being new to the whole videoing and editing and making all this stuff, I still am really bad about catching a lot of footage that I need. A lot of times I start getting really wrapped up in the moment, especially there towards the end of a project, and then I'm just like, you know, kind of firing off, trying to get things figured out, trying to get things assembled. So I don't have any of the actual footage of the assembly and the finishing of it. So I apologize. I've let you down. I promise to do better. I promise to work harder to improve that. But it's probably not going to be the next time I do them, because I still have to break the mentality of just like go, 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 go. This is it, and I hope you enjoy. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, comment, tell me I'm pretty, whatever. And yeah, until the next time, see ya.